Welcome back. This is part 2 of our land valuation for the Kenai Peninsula Borough Assessing Department. This is Les Crane, land appraiser. And what I've got here is just a sample of sales for a fictitious neighborhood, and I'm just going to do a quick run through in how we determine our base rate and then calibrate for different influences. Again, this is just going to be a simplified version, but should give you the basic idea of how and what we do. So if you look at these, we've got 10 sales, and then we're interested in our statistics over here. Our median ratio is 62%. Our PRD is 1.54. And our COD is 38.02. So all of those specs those statistics are way out of spec for what is allowed by IAAO standards. So that's why we need to recalibrate and update this model to bring it into compliance. So looking through our sales, I've highlighted this sale number 2 here, and the reason I've highlighted that is it has a driveway improvement. So what we will do is take the value of the driveway, which for this year is $2,000, and we subtract that from the purchase price, and that will give us just a straight land value. So we make that change. Something happened there. Okay. All right. So there's our updated value there. Now, next step is to set our base rate. So what we want to do is go through here. I've added influences for gravel access, electric, and gas, and so on. So we want to select all of those. And then we also... So there, we've got 5 sales that all have gravel maintained access, electric, and natural gas. This one here, we've already accounted for the driveway. So you can see our overall median ratio is 72%, and PRD and COD are still not looking very good. So when we take those sales prices and plot them on the graph down here on a price per acre, and then we can tell Excel to give us a equation for that line. So that gives us a base rate of 11,000 and an exponent of negative 0.55. So if we apply that base rate and update all of the land values, we can see that brings us to a median ratio of 99.39%. Our PRD is 1.01 and our COD is 6.58. So those are all very good. And as you can see, those properties are plotted here on the graph, and they're all very close to that trend line that Excel has given us. So let's continue on with our modeling here, get back all of our sales. And then so the next adjustment we're going to do is make a adjustment for not having electricity. So we've got 3 sales that don't have electricity. So you can see here our median ratio is 120%. So that means we're 20% over, which leads that we need to make a deduction in our valuation for not having any electricity. So if we take the inverse of 1.2, it gives us 0.8. So if we adjust the factors here for each of those parcels. That brings our median ratio down to 96%. So it shows us that our adjustment was a very accurate adjustment. So go back to all of our sales. And then the next one we want to look at is we have 2 properties with a view excellent, but one of those has a lake access to it as well. So first of all, we're going to calibrate just the excellent view. And looking at that, that gives us a median ratio of 50%. So if we take the inverse of that, that gives us 2. So we change our factor to 2. And that brings us to 101%. So being just a little bit over, that's okay, because we're going to have some properties that are going to be assessed for more than what they sold for. So if we go back to our one with the lake and we calibrate the lake influence after we've calibrated the view influence. Because you can have a view influence and not have a waterfront influence. But if you have a property that's on a lake, it's also always going to have a view. So that's the reason we made that adjustment first. So take that one off. So that gives us 35.7%. So we are way low on that. So if we take the inverse of that, so that gives us a value of 2.8. So if we change our factor to 2.8, that gives us right on the money, right at 100%. So keep in mind that factor of 2.8, that also includes the 100% view factor. So if we subtract that, that leaves us with an 80% factor for the lake value. So if we bring back all of our sales, and now we take a look, got all our sales, our median ratio is at 99%, our PRD is at 1.0, and our COD is 4.35. So all of those statistics are excellent and are well within what is allowed by IAAO. So you can look down here on this graph here, you can see all those sales are closely bound around that median ratio, where if you look at the values previously, they were kind of spread out all over the place. So we want to get those values as close to that median as we can, which that's our COD, or the coefficient of dispersion. So that's in a nutshell how we calibrate our land models. We set the base rate first, then we go through and make adjustments based on sales that have those particular influences to create a factor. Again, if you got any questions, shoot me an email. Thank you, guys.